Today is Trivia Tuesday and we are covering one of the most iconic actors in Hollywood. He is a larger-than-life character and he plays larger-than-life characters. He is none other than Johnny Depp, the 12th highest grossing actor of all time. Let's get into some more facts and figures and things maybe you didn't know about Johnny Depp. Well, he was born John Christopher Depp II on the 9th of June 1963 in Owensboro, Kentucky. His family moved around a lot when he was young, eventually settling down in Florida. His parents divorced when he was 15 years old, and that had a massive impact on his life. His mother did later remarry. She remarried a musician called Robert Palmer, who wrote the song Addicted to Love. And Robert Palmer was a great source of inspiration for Johnny Depp in those formative years. His mother bought him a guitar, and Johnny Depp started playing the guitar at the age of 12. He joined a band called The Kids that once opened for Iggy Pop. After a few years, the band moved to LA to find fame and fortune. And Johnny Depp did odd jobs here and there to support his income, including telemarketing. Interesting. In 1983, he married a lady called Laurie Ann Allison, who's a makeup artist and the sister of the band's bassist and singer. Johnny Depp then left the band and collaborated with another band called Rock City Angels. Now, this band were great. They were signed by Geffen Records, by David Geffen himself in the 80s. They came out with one album called Young Man's Blues, which was a great album. Johnny Depp had already left the band by this point, but he did collaborate on one of the songs called Mary, which is a great song. And I know this song because I bought the album back in the 80s when it first came out. So I do know something about this. His wife at the time introduced him to the actor Nicolas Cage, and they became drinking buddies. And Nicolas Cage is the one that was responsible for introducing him into the world of acting by encouraging him to audition for the Wes Craven film in 1984 called A Nightmare on Elm Street. And he was actually given the part, and he's in the film. And I remember watching the film in 1984, but I don't remember him back in those days because he wasn't well known. But that was the start of his TV career. And then he was in a TV series called 21 Jump Street, which really kick-started his fame and his real entrance into filmmaking. Francis Ford Coppola turned him down for Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1992, saying that he wasn't pretty enough. So the role was actually given to Keanu Reeves instead. Who's prettier? I don't know. I'm not the one to judge. Anyway, as some of you know, he has a long-standing partnership with Tim Burton, starting from the early days of Edward Scissorhands, but also then Sleepy Hollow, Sweeney Todd, to name a few. Of course, I think all of you should know about his long-standing work in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was actually nominated for an Academy Award. The character is actually based on Keith Richards, the guitarist of Rolling Stones. Apparently, he keeps a costume with him at all times because he visits sick children in hospital to make them feel better. And that all started from one time when his daughter was sick in the UK and she was at Great Ormond Street Hospital. She was very sick, and Johnny Depp got dressed up in character to make the other kids feel happy and to give them some sort of solace. He also donated £1 million to Great Ormond Street Hospital, which is great. Talking about donations, he donated his entire salary from the film The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus to Matilda Ledger, who is the daughter of deceased actor Heath Ledger, because during the filming of this, Heath Ledger passed away. He directed and co-wrote with his brother a film called The Brave, which is a 1997 American independent neo-Western film. The cast includes not only Johnny Depp, but also the late great actor Marlon Brando. Another fact, Johnny Depp once owned a village in France, probably due to the fact that at the time he was in a long-standing relationship with Vanessa Paradis, the model and singer. Vanessa Paradis, for those of you that may or may not know, she was a model back in the 80s. She was the face of Chanel, but she also had a couple of hits. One of them was called Joe Le Taxi, which was a big hit in France and also in Europe. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but also another song called Be My Baby, which is a great song. He very rarely watches his own films, apparently. He was also very close friends, as some of you know, with the late journalist and author Hunter S. Thompson. Depp portrayed Thompson's alter ego in the film Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which was back in 1998, and was actually responsible for fulfilling Thompson's last wish to have his ashes shot out of a cannon after his death in 2005. Apparently the cost of that, it was claimed, was around $5 million to do that, but figures show that it was more likely around $3 million, but Johnny Depp paid that out of his own pocket. He's a certified sommelier, so he's a wine enthusiast. His love for wine is so strong that he's been known to spend extravagant amounts on rare wines from his private collection. He's an Anglophile. He loves British humour and was a fan of a UK TV sketch show. And I know this because I used to watch the show back in the 90s. It was a show called The Fast Show, and he even appeared in one of the episodes. He is part of a supergroup called Hollywood Vampires. This supergroup features not only Johnny Depp, but also Joe Perry, Aerosmith, and of course, the amazing Alice Cooper. Apparently, he has an allergy to chocolate since his formative years, which he kept quiet during the filming of Willy Wonka. He has a fear of mannequins and wax figures called automatonophobia. He also has a fear of clowns called coulrophobia. And he revels in the art of fencing and has a collection of antique swords. You should come and see me sometime. I also do some fencing. Apparently, he preserves and keeps his extracted teeth as souvenirs. I've heard of more bizarre things. He has had some recent dental work done because apparently people have been complaining about the state of his teeth, so maybe he's even kept those as souvenirs. But that's all the news I have and all the interesting facts I have on Johnny Depp. I mean, I compiled a long list, so there's a lot more that I could talk about, but I think those are the most interesting things. If you know of any other facts, if you know of anything else that's interesting that you want to share with us, please leave some comments. Please like and please follow our reels.